Hey everybody, welcome back to the vlog. So today we're going to talk about cameras. For the last 2, 3, 4 weeks, we've been talking a lot about Sony and how mirrorless is the next best thing to slice bread, as well as Nikon and their issues and what's going on over there, and Canon and whatnot. So today we want to take a look at what is the best camera out there, or what is the best camera that you think should be created for everything that you do. So before I get into it, on my nice comfy couch here in the back of the studio, let me ask that you go and head over to my website, JCristina.com. You can find some photography tools that I've invented over the years. Check them out. There might be something there that you might like. If there is, pick it up and support me. That would be awesome. So let's get right into it. Today we're going to look at what is the best camera for you, what is the best camera for me now, but even more important in the future. What would we like to see in a camera? Now, let me start out with what I do. All right, I'm an event photographer. I'm also a portrait photographer. I also do fashion. Now, I do video and photo, so I'm more of a hybrid shooter. I'm very eclectic. There's a lot of things that I do to make money. And for fun, I love doing fine art work. So let me start out with my fine art work. My fine art work is like what you see back there. That is a 60 by 40 inch print. It is a chemical print. That's what I personally like. It is black and white, and it's shot with a camera that looks like this. This is a Minolta SR-T 102. And if you guys have been around listening to me for a while, I've talked about this camera a lot. This is the camera that I use for all of this fine art work that I show in galleries and I sell. Why is that? Well, for me, I love that it's manual. I love that it's film. I like the way the grain is on the certain films that I use. I like the way that it looks after I process this stuff. I just like it. You can get something similar by shooting with a DSLR and then running it through different post-processing things to try to get it to look like film. But guess what? Never looks like film. So this is what I use. Now, when it comes to my event work, I use a 5D or a 1D. Why is that? Most of the time, the event work is done in extremely crappy lighting conditions. I need full frame. I need to be able to capture as much light as possible, and then later in post-production, mush it around a little bit and be able to pull those darks out, drop down those highlights, whatever I need to do, push and pull it in RAW as much as possible. So I like full frame for that. Now, when I shoot fashion, most of the time I'm shooting Hasselblad. Why is that? And not a 1D or a 5D. Well, when it comes to fashion, a lot of times, or cover work, magazine cover work, a lot of times the client needs an image, but they need it in different crops. So they might need a full-length body shot, and they might need a headshot on the exact same picture. You need a lot of megapixels for that. Also, a lot of pushing and pulling and massaging of pixels are done on these images. Why? Because the person, the male or female, needs to look absolutely perfect. No blemishes, no nothing. Everything has to be perfect. So there's a lot that goes on. The more megapixels you have, the easier that is to do and still be able to make an enlargement and not have any pixelization, right? So I use Hasselblad for that. Now, if I'm going to be shooting these type of shoots where it's just a quick 10-minute video, I'm going to use an 80D or a 7D or possibly even one of the 5Ds. Why? It just simply works. I like the 80D. This is my camera of choice right now. Why is that? Because it's following my face right now. Now, if this was another camera, that face behind me would be probably in focus right now, because it would have lost its mind and now been focusing on there instead of here, right? So Canon's got it right. So I do the 80D because it has the dual pixel AF, which is awesome. It just simply works. Now, when I'm doing video, for example, like an event, and it's 2 or 3 hours long, or even if I'm doing a short video, but it's commercial in nature, it needs to be just right. I'm shooting a C-series camera, a C200, C300, whatever, by Canon. Now, let me stop for a second and say, just yesterday, I was on a commercial shoot. Now, I had nothing to do with it. My wife is actually a licensed cosmetologist for the last 20 years. She does a lot of fashion. She does a lot of TV and whatnot. So I went with her. I was her Uber driver, basically. And it was kind of fun being on location, not being the DP or not having anything to do with it and just watching people work. I just enjoy that a lot. So at the time of setup, I saw that the guy pulled out a GH5. Now, I know that they've been shooting this specific dealership, car dealership, for the last 2-3 years. And I thought it was interesting that they were shooting a Panasonic GH5. And I was looking and I'm like, okay, it makes sense. I asked them, like, what are you doing? Are you shooting 4K and then downsampling to 1080? And they're like, yeah, that's what we're doing. And I'm like, how do you like it? They said, well, it's okay, but the problem is we need a lot of light. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, it's a Micro Four Thirds sensor, right? It's a tiny sensor. Then the guy said, yeah, we want to go full frame, but we just haven't done it yet. And I suggested, hey, why don't you take a look at the C-Series because they work out good. He said one of the biggest problems besides the light is that the damn thing wouldn't follow focus. And I'm like, yeah, we have talked about that, right? Panasonic GH4, the GH5, the GH5S just doesn't follow focus properly. It just doesn't. Simply that. Like I said, right now, it would be focused over there and not on me. That's just what it does. It just doesn't do it well. A little side note though, as of yesterday, Panasonic came out with a new firmware update. If you guys are a Panasonic shooter of any of the GH line, go download that firmware. Supposedly, they have improved the AF and the tracking. Little side note. So let me get back into the C-Series, I told them. The reason why I shoot C-Series, and they understood it, they got it, is because there's multiple factors. Number one, of course, you could shoot log like you can with the Panasonic. You can bring in an XLR feed like the Panasonic. On the handle on the C-Series that you can get optionally, you have a dial for your gain and whatnot to be able to balance off your left and right, okay? Very, very important for high-end production work. Also, what is very, very mission critical is there's no end to the time that you can record. So if you have a 8 gig, for example, card in it, you can record full 8 gig. If you have a 212 gig card in it, you can record 212 gig of video. That's right, guys. That's not 29 minutes or 15 minutes or 59 minutes. There's no limitation. It creates, let's say, a 29-minute file and then another one and then another one, and it buffers in between. So you might have, 100 29-minute files, whatever it is, until the end of the card, till the card is full. That is exceptional. Now, even if the other cameras could do that, for example, a Sony, the thing would melt like molten lava on the floor in a puddle after an hour of shooting. It would overheat. It's just not made for that. Same thing with a Panasonic or even like a 5D or a 1D. They just aren't made for that. Why is the C-Series made for it? Because they got a big fan in there that's blowing on the sensor, right? So it doesn't heat up. Perfect camera for every job, right? But there's no camera that is perfect out there that does everything. There is no jack of all trades as of right now, but we're going to build one today, right? We're going to build one. So those are a couple of the cameras that I use and why I use them. I want to know what you guys use for your business and what would be the perfect camera for you. So now for me, if we were building this perfect camera, I would start out with a body that's like this, okay? I love a rangefinder that has all the dials. That's why I really like Fujifilm's cameras, because they have all the dials. Everything is controllable on the top of the camera with dials, okay? You're not going on the back of a menu system to try to figure things out. Everything is up here. I love this. Also, it needs to have some size to it, maybe a 5D with a grip, right? Something a little bit larger. You don't want to have a big bazooka, a 400, 600 millimeter lens on the back of like a cigarette pack. Okay, you've seen people shoot this stuff. The lens is over here like this, and you got this little tiny camera. Hey, this is ridiculous. You can't hold it at that point. Okay, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. So something a little bit larger would be nice, okay? I would like to see at least 32 megapixels. I think that would be good. I don't need 60 like a Hasselblad. I'm gonna still bring a Hasselblad in if I'm gonna do fashion. I can't have that because could you imagine shooting a wedding, let's say, guys, and you have, let's say, 1,000 pictures at 60 megapixels? That's massive. 100 meg on every image, you just couldn't do it. You'd have a sea of external hard drives everywhere, okay? You just couldn't do that. So 32 megapixel, I think, is a good number. Also, really good dynamic range, okay? I would like to see a camera that has 3 sensors in it, like the old CCDs of the camcorders. Wouldn't that be cool? You have a sensor capturing low light, a sensor capturing mids, a sensor capturing the highlights, and now mush them all together in the camera. You got amazing dynamic range. How about that? That'd be cool. I would like to see 444, not 422 or 420 on video. I want to see high bit rates, okay? Very, very important for me. Of course, it has to have logs so we can do color grading after the fact. Very important to me. We want to have battery life. Well, when you have a camera that is decent in size, big battery, long life. Small battery, short life. We don't want to have, like the Sonys for the longest time until they came out with their Z series batteries, you would have like 10 chiclets in your pocket, right? Constantly stuffing batteries in the thing. We don't want that. Big battery, really nice, long extended life. Excellent. Also, of course, we want to be able to bring in XLR, especially if you're doing video. That would be fantastic, right? And very important, that DPAF, dual pixel AF. I don't care who makes it. I don't care if it's Nikon or Canon or Sony or Panasonic, whatever. It needs to work. Like this dual pixel works, it needs to work. It needs to be able to follow focus. Also, it has to have 2 card slots in it, and not one slow, one fast, one UHS 1, one UHS 2. No, 2 fast card slots in it, period. We need redundancy. If you're a professional, you need to make sure that you're getting the shot, and you need redundancy. You need to be able to have duplicate continuously, right? So those are some of the things that I think would be really, really good. I'm sure there's a lot more that you would like to see in a camera, and I want to hear from you. I want to know, what is the perfect camera for you? Is it a camera that you currently have but you want to see it made better? That's fine. Is it something that is a combined of, like for me, maybe this, a Minolta and, for example, a 1D and a C300? That would be awesome, right? What is it? What are you looking for in a camera? And what would satisfy, let's say, the majority of your needs, okay? When we see mirrorless, and a lot of people are talking mirrorless, a lot of folks out there are going to say, we want silent shooting. And I get it. We do need mirrorless. But keep in mind, guys, until we have a global shutter, that means it captures the entire sensor at one time and not scanned the image across it. When you scan across the image, you get that jello effect. But a global shutter, when you can capture the entire frame or the entire sensor at one time, when we have that, then we'll be able to say mirrorless is fully here. Until that, we're going to have to go through this process of getting it just right. As we know, for example, the Sony, the A9, it is getting really close. It captures that sensor very quickly, and it's really close to reducing that jello effect, that rolling shutter, but it's still not 100% there. Also, you still can't shoot flash with it, okay? Because it's not capturing that quickly. It needs to be able to capture that quickly so that we can shoot flash and we can do it with a mirrorless option. Until then, it's just not there yet. We're getting there, but it's just not there. Like Moore's Law, it's getting there like this. The bell curve is like this. It's getting there quickly. I would say within less than 2 years, we're going to find a time that we will have a global shutter in the camera where a shutter is no longer, you won't have a flipping mirror in there any longer at that point. So anyways, these are my thoughts. I want to know from you, what do you want to see in a camera? I have this like kind of an open letter to all the camera companies. This is what I want, all right? So in the comment area, make a list of the things that you would like to see in a camera. And we can kind of debate back and forth which ones are good, which ones will help. And there's probably some things that you're going to say that I haven't thought of, and vice versa, that there's just certain things that you do that I don't do. So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this content as always. If you did, please throw me a big thumbs up. That would be absolutely stellar. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you can get all my content when it becomes available, and click the bell icon so when it is available, you will be notified of it. And head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find a lot of photography tools I've invented for photographers just like you and I over the years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like, and if there is, please pick it up and support me. That would be awesome. That's it, guys. I'm out of here for yet another vlog. We'll see you in the next one. Happy shooting, and let's find the perfect camera. Take care, guys.